Okay, so we are I Robotics. Our product is Buddy. Buddy is an early intervention robot that helps children on the autism spectrum. Early intervention is this concept that if you can help a child early on in their life, you change their entire trajectory. And for the last 8 months, we have dedicated our time to listening to parents and trying to figure out how to help them and come up with a solution for them. But our story, and we've had almost 3,000 points of contact with these parents. Our story starts with my nephews. Both of them are just glued to the screen all the time. One of them is in first grade, just can't get the ABCs down, and I've watched kind of the stress that caused my brother. And so we wanted to come up with a solution that would get kids up and off the screen. And so we had this interactive toy was our first solution.
So every test that we did, we tried to follow as closely as possible to nail and scale it, which means we innovated and the customers validated. And so we did about 97 surveys, 2 focus groups, and 42 interviews at the mall, and we found out that we were dead wrong.
It turns out that it's not really about screen time. What the parents really wanted was their child learning the fundamental skills, like the foundational reading, writing, and math. And that the pain was that their child could fall behind. And so our unique value, our solution became this robot that taught reading, writing, and math. And that gave these parents peace of mind knowing that their child was going to progress normally.
So to test this assumption, we decided to make an MVP website, and we sent over 1,200 people to the website to figure out whether or not they would purchase it. And we found out that they didn't. So we sent another 144 surveys to ask them why, and we realized that parents with neurotypical children or normal children just didn't worry as much as we thought they would.
So we took it to professors and we said, this is our solution, and professors told us that it actually isn't for all parents. Parents with children with learning disabilities, autism, and ADHD were the ones that really needed a solution like this. So we went out and tested it with them.
Yeah, so here is a snapshot of 461 people that we've messaged on Facebook, and most of them really loved it. But the people who were most excited about it, the people who kept coming back to us and saying, when is this product ready, are parents with children on the autism spectrum.
And we knew they were our early adopters, but we wanted to test our problem and solution with them, so we did another 49 interviews on Facebook, and 15 calls about the pain, 15 calls about the solution. What we did was batch testing, where we took our hypothesis, and every 5 calls we kind of evaluated. And what we learned really quickly was that it wasn't about the foundational skills for these parents. It was social skills and communication of wants and needs. And so our solution became this robot that could teach those things. And the value this added to parents was relief, knowing they had a tool that their child wanted to engage with that helped their child step by step to improve.
So here's the solution that we brought to parents. We said, Buddy is an ASD companion. It's about the size of BB-8 from Star Wars, so about 14 inches. We want him to teach in a living room environment. Buddy can speak, he can listen, he can talk, he can roll. We want to take all of these tools so that he can be able to engage with the child through games and teach him through their A to B curriculum. Everything that Buddy is done with Buddy will be saved and sent back to the parents to show the progression of the child.
So we knew we had a huge assumption that children would engage with this. We bought a BB-8, we stuck a phone on it, we took it to 7 different children on the spectrum, and the kids loved it. They'd hug it, they loved it. But we had one other huge assumption, and that was that children will learn from a robot. Luckily, almost every main university in the nation has done studies on robotics and autism. BYU did one as well. And there's 3 main things that get these children learning with robots. First is that the robot and the child need to interact and learn together. And then the robot facilitates this 3-way learning. And then the robot just facilitates the interaction between the parent and the child. And this is proven, and so we integrated it into all of our games and everything we did. It also proved that a child will play 10 or more minutes with the robot.
So as far as our cost structure goes, we have a fixed amount of $50,000 for plastic molds. We've estimated about $160,000 in software development. Because Jared and I are both CS students, we believe that we can reduce this cost significantly. On top of that, we've got an engineer to give us a parts list, and we estimated about the robot will cost about $80 to $120 to build. And so we 5x that cost, and that's where we came up with a revenue stream of $600 per unit.
We wanted to test the channel of selling it online, so we did 312 surveys, and we were able to get 15 cents cost per click. What parents were saying, although 20% said yes, I'd buy it, they were saying it's such a risk to pay $600 with something that isn't proven yet. So then Aaron had the great idea of doing a subscription model of $60, which would double the total lifetime value of our customers, but was also a lot less risk for these parents. So we did another 456 surveys through running through Facebook ads, 12 more calls, 31 more interviews, and what parents started saying was, yes, if you can build it, I'll pay more than $100 a month to get something like this in my home.
So onto our competitors. Unlike our competitor Buddy, we are autism specific. Unlike LECA, we have an early intervention curriculum. Unlike Milo, we're a fraction of the cost, so we're 20 times more affordable. Unlike Screens, where the whole point of Buddy is to get children off of the apps and up and active.
So our key metric is the number of robots we can get in homes, because there's this race to be the first open platform for developer robot in homes. Because of the pain, we have that advantage. But our other unique advantage is just the sheer number of parents that we have talked to. And the fact that the two most important people in this company have just been listening, and we're going to continue to listen. We have a lot to learn. But we are I Robotics, so thank you very much.
I have two quick questions.
Yeah.
I like how you did your tests, 5 calls, kind of reassess, test again. My question is, first of all, when you got to your price point, your subscription model, did you run that price point through a similar style of test, or was it a one-batch survey that got a certain response saying, I paid that much?
Yes, we did both. We ran the 400 surveys through Facebook ads to see, and we got the 60%. And then we also made calls explaining our solution. We had like a 10-minute video explaining everything, and then saying, is this what you pay? Would you pay for this amount?
Okay, so that actually leads right into my second question, which is, you had this 10-minute presentation, so it's still kind of hypothetical, right? It's still like, if our product would do this, you still have to code whatever that AI is, or whatever, whatever interactivity is. You still have to like build that. Like, it wasn't like they were doing that test with your prototype. It was your newly identified value prop that you were testing. Is that right?
Yeah.
Yeah, correct. So, currently, we're not finished. We're still going out and validating. We're at the point we're building our physical prototype. It should be done on Tuesday. But yeah, we've gone into several different homes with our robot currently, but we also want to test the curriculum. So we're going to be taking that after the physical prototype is done coding. We're going to go into homes to test it out.
Luckily, they've been teaching children with autism for about like 30 years or more and doing research, but anyway.
I guess maybe I need to clarify. I'm asking, you have this slide called, in your test, it has the table in it, social engagement behaviors before and after treatment. Those numbers, did that come from your treatment program?
No, that came from BYU, yes.
Okay.
That's BYU's treatment. That's a great question.
I missed, what does the robot do? Is it, other than talk to them, is there a teaching curriculum? Does it, I didn't catch exactly what it does.
Yeah, so essentially currently every single month we're promising parents to come out with a new curriculum to help their children get from A to B. We want to use Howard Gardner's 8 intelligence model because we believe every child learns differently. So it teaches like musically, teaches linguistically, logically, all these different ways. So using those tools like speaking, talking, listening, moving, playing different games, using in the curriculum.
And those aren't hypothetical, like we have designed the games, so yeah.
Just quickly, so can you remind me your channel? How are you going to get to these parents?
to be your purchasers?
Yeah, mostly online. There's a lot of support groups for parents with autism. I mean, it's a huge community, and networking in that community and then selling online. I mean, they're all looking for each other for solutions for, yeah. So networking and online.
So I had a question. You showed a lot of big numbers in terms of your surveys and all that, which is great. I just wonder if you could tell me a little bit more about how you ensured the quality of your testing. In other words, how did you make sure that you were actually getting reliable data from those surveys and interviews that you could rely on in making your decisions?
Yeah, I think it'd be the different types of tests that we did.
Yeah, so for the very first one, like we said in the very beginning, we used the nail and scale model. They have a lot of interview questions to make sure we are the ones innovating and having them validate.
So give me an example of.
Yeah, so very first question is, we'd identify the pain. So the very first question we'd ask is, we found that parents with children on the autism spectrum have difficulty teaching their child communicating their wants and needs, and social sense. Does this match your experience, right?
It was actually really funny. We asked the parents, we said, can you identify a time that you felt this pain? And they just laughed at us. They're like, that's ridiculous. It's all day. It's every day. I mean, a lot of different nail and scale tests.
Yeah, and then after that, we'd also say, okay, so this is our solution. Does this solve your problem? Yes or no? And if they said no, we said why, right? We take all that and we recorded that on our personal Google Forms for our own test.